Hello once again and welcome to what we lovingly refer to as another Sunday Q&A. I don't know how many of these have I done. I've thought what I should do is I should count these and we could do like the 100th one, 100th Q&A, but I can't be bothered. So if anybody can be bothered, and I really wouldn't bother because honestly I'm sure you've got better things to do with your life, I'd be curious to know how many I've done. Do the Saturday ones count as well? What happens if you do two? Or maybe let's just not worry about it. Right, so what we got this week. Rumbutter 10 says, as an introduction, he says, you're up early Sunday, mate? No, I'm not. What I do, and what I do with a lot of the videos now, is I record them. So this is actually 5 o'clock on Friday. But the thing is, it takes so long to upload the video. And then, of course, you have to put the cards in, and you have to put the end screen in. So what I do is, I normally do it on a Saturday, that's a Friday, but I'll re-record the videos. So if something, you go, hang on, that doesn't work, there's a chance it's because it was recorded previously. I'm sorry it's not live. But, hey, the luxury of live TV is not afforded to me right now. Who knows, maybe it will be in the future. And Lee Allen, get well soon, Lee Allen. He says, cheers, Pete. Aiming back to work on the 15th of March. Still in pain. Sorry to hear that, mate. But I might have to get used to it. And he meant to say, right, here we go. Heads up here, guys. He said, have you read the trade press? I think it's on the 22nd of February 2022. Anything over 2.5 tonne is going to have to be tachoed and run the same hours as trucks. Now, I assume that you won't have to do the parking thing and you won't have to do the sort of transport manager thing and all that kind of stuff, but you might have to run on cards, which will change things for the industry dramatically. Having said that, February 2022 is quite a way off right now, and anything can happen in the next half hour. So it's one of those watch this space type things anyway. So, right, what we got? Well, we've done the one on tramping this week. I'm trying to cut them down to a minimum because I don't want to overload you with videos. So, yeah, one on best van for tramping. Steve Campbell says, he said, I think there's a firm down my way somewhere, so it's down south, isn't it, called Harker. That's H-A-R-K-E-R, if they're still going. They build a bed behind the cab seats that folds up as part of the bulkhead when the bed's stowed away. They remove the original bulkhead, there's a bit of wood gone, fit the bed folds down into a load, like they said, load area with a pram hood to keep you warm in the cab, and you can get a curtains for two for privacy. I can understand the principle of that because that's kind of what is in my lorry, which is the fact you have to fold the front seats down and the bed pings down and you actually got to sleep in bed. That would be one way around it. He also says, there's cost to fit in these things. I find it horrific. He says, P.S. who do you use for insurance again? Can't get insured to drive our curtain sider unless I insure daily at £29 a day, which sounds very expensive. We use Business Choice Direct. I plug Business Choice Direct. I'll be honest with you, I get a kickback. I think they give me 50 quid last month. Every time someone signs up, I get 50 quid. But then I'll only plug people that are any good. There'll be a link if you go to the end screen on the website, if I can do a link to the website. Give them a ring, but I always say, try everybody. Get the cheapest one for you. They're the best for me. They might not be the best for you, but if you do use them, and I do recommend them, I've never come unstuck with them, please mention my name. I'll get a McGarrett out of it. So, but you do the best for you. But you asked me the question, who do we use? We use BCG, Business Choice Direct. They're also the people the Courier Exchange recommend. So they kind of work hand in hand. End of the day, you do you. It's just my advice. You got to take it for yourself. Coming down the bulkhead thing, Echo Z Detailing says in Europe they cut the bulkhead out of a 7.5 ton panel van and put a folding bed in, same as before. It's all insulated, night heater. He said for a curtain side they have a sleeper on top of the cab. I've seen those too. You know, like with the Lutons, where you've got the Luton bit, because that is actually why Lutons are called Luton. It's the bit that goes above the cab, I believe. There's a box van and there's a Luton van. The Luton van is the bit above the cab, and a lot of them they sleep up there. But again, it's like he says. Oh, great video again. Thanks very much. He says a load of people driving around Europe just sleeping in a van. Boom, 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 boom. I think that nomadic lifestyle's kind of all right for a bit. I wouldn't mind doing it for like, I mean, I don't mind doing it like 1 day out, 2 days out. I've never done 2 days out. To do more than 5 days and not go home, just to keep living in your van, is kind of, I don't know if that will quite be for me. And he's, you know, it could be, you know, one of the guys could go on that, it's a bit cramped up there. But hey, end of the day, everyone does it differently. That's the advantage. You are you do your own world, don't you? Van on a Run says, he said I tramp most weeks. He's fitted a cheap diesel heater in the back He's uploaded a video of the fitting, and he said, can I give him a plug? Mate, if I can, I'll try and do a link to it. If not, what I'll do is I'll try and do a link to one of your videos, and then guys, if you want to subscribe, follow the guy. He's out there, he comments regularly. It's not all about me. There's plenty of other people doing the thing about vans. Don't, what I'll try and do, mate, if I can, please, if I remember, I'll try and do you a link. If not, put something in the comments, go, oi, where's my link? And I'll get you sorted. But yes, please do. Please subscribe to Van on the Run. He's a nice geezer. He says, as you're 6'2" like me, actually I'm 6'1". You're taller than me. He says, you're tall fit to fit across a van line straight. He said, I like to sleep on my back stretched out with my hands by my side, like I'm in a coffin. There are ways around these things. I'm sure that if you subscribe to the guy and watch his videos, I'm sure you can see how it actually works in real life. So don't take it from the guy who doesn't tramp, take it from the guy who does. We'll see if we can get you a link on there, mate. No worries. If not, just type van on the run into the search bar on YouTube, and I'm sure it'll ping up. It did for me. Lee Allen, he says there is a company in the UK, we come back to another one, that do a conversion, and you can also get a sleeper pod that goes on the roof with a proper night heater. A bit cramped though. It's just the money. It's just like, how much it is to put curtains in, how much it is to put... That's one of the reasons why I went into a truck. When I'm thinking it's going to cost this much to put a bed upstairs, or it's going to cost this much to convert the side, or I can just get an O licence and buy one that's already done. So that's one of the reasons I did it. Clayton Inman says, best van for tramping, obviously a camper van. Actually, there's one better, but we'll come to that one at the end. Mickey Mack, he said there was one on Auto Trader the other day, extra long wheelbase Sprinter. He'd moved the bulkhead and built a bed behind the seats. The only issue is he'd lost access to the side door, whereas you could have squeezed a pallet through. He said, I'm considering doing it and leaving enough room for 2 pallets, tramping luxury, van glamping on the CX. The problem with that is you've instantly shortened your van by 2 pallets, so you're no longer an extra long wheelbase, you're now a medium wheelbase van. So yes, you've got somewhere to sleep, but at the same time, you're going to lose all that extra money on jobs. To me, I still think the best thing is to get something that will fit in the cab, or in the summer you can sleep in the back. Keep those 4 spaces, and if you really want to, rather than sort of sleep in the back of your van, every couple of days get a travel lodge for 30 quid. For the money you're going to spend converting your van and the money you're going to lose not shipping the stuff you could, it would be cheaper to ship more and then actually sleep in a bed for the night in a warm hotel. It's got a bar when they open. But again, you do you. Everyone does it their own way. Corrigan 71 says Luton with an overhead bunk. Yes, they do exist. Gold member says, hello again, mate. He says, soon be too hot again for tramping. I hope you're busy. Too hot for tramping. At the moment, it's too cold for tramping. I can deal with hot. I can sleep in the back of my van. When I was in the van, you can open the shutter, put the tail lift up, open the shutter. Lovely, nice. Loads of room. It was in the winter in Cardiff at 1 o'clock in the morning that it was too... No, that's when I didn't want to be in the back. That was when it was... It wasn't even the winter. It was freezing. I was by water as well. I don't think that helped. Ian McBride says... He says, those have... those that have luxury heaters and beds in the cab are seasoned drivers. He says, my idea would be that put the heated things to ones like coats. They used to work for me. Admittedly, I wasn't sleeping there for long periods of time, but I used to sleep between the 3 seats. Just throw coats over me. That would work. Or removal blankets. That also worked as well. He said, alternatively, and I'll say this again, measure a bit of wood, cut it to size, stick a mattress on it, store it in the back of your van. And then when it's bedtime, when it's all jobs are done, back of your van, bosh in the front, there's your big bed. Like I say, guys, there's ways and means around all this kind of stuff, So, and finally, from Domain Name Guy, he says, right, this is interesting. Collapsible loo, about £30 from Amazon, Power Oak, with portable collapsible solar panel, and also a cheap Chinese diesel heater, and insulate the van floor. Right, insulate. Oh, and also right. And use drive-throughs, saves cooking and washing up. Firstly, insulating the van floor is a nice idea. You might want to put some wood down there to protect it, but ultimately, if you insulate it too much, you're going to add weight, and you're going to, lose a little bit of space. It depends what you insulate. And if you insulate it with insulation panels, you could tear it to pieces, moving loads up and down. But I suppose there's a way around it. Collapsible loo. I've got a bottle in the front and the back. I'm 50 now. You never know. You might get caught. But as for the other one, Just got to make sure that we get that one sorted, haven't we? Really, and saves on cushion. If I went through a drive-through in mine, I think I'll be confronted with a very big bill. As you know, it's not really built for drive-throughs. Although kebabs, I do like kebabs, and I miss a kebab, and when you stay out, I do like a kebab. But again, doesn't happen that often. But it might be, it might well be happening Monday. But we'll come to that anyway later on. So what have we done? That's over there. Right, miscellaneous. Darren Smith, can we see some of your loads and a walk around check? Should do one on a walk around check. Thanks for heads up. Yeah, I'll do that. I've just changed from I was using the truck app. I was using the app on my phone. I've gone back to the old system. I've gone back to writing things down on a pad. I just prefer it. It's easier. I think the app on your phone works really well if you're like, with our drivers, one of our old drivers used to do his walk around check and then ping it across to us every morning so we'd seen he'd done it. It's not necessary. If you've got a decent driver, you trust him, you don't need to do that. Just make sure that they're on the ball, check the book from time to time, that kind of thing. I've still gone back to the old-fashioned book. And as for strap, I've got to do one on loads and straps, but it's in the queue. But anyway, I will get round to it, mate, promise you. Domain name guy again. He says there's a few people out there with problems with Peugeot, Citroën and Fiat vans are currently having mechanical problems, and there are no problems with Merc Sprinters and Crafters. I've always said, and again, you've got to bear in mind that this is just my opinion. There's Mercedes, then there's VW, and then there's Transits, or Transits as I like to refer to them. And then there's everything else. You will do it your way. It's just what I find. I find for luxury and reliability, the Mercedes is the best, but it's expensive. The VWs are very good vans, but they're not quite as good as Mercs. And then there's Transits, which are workhorses, and they'll go on and on and on, and they're not dear, and the parts are cheap. And then after that, just not a fan. Just me. Maybe it's the years of growing up on the market. It's just not a fan. But there you go. But I'm sure you'll all tell me that you've got some of those sort of European vans and you're having a fine time in them, in which case I'm pleased for you and well done you. He also said, because we did one on best work boots, he said the Vel-Tough black and silver safety trainers, comfy from day one, they're top of the listing on BACA, B-A-C-A, safety trainers. I googled how much my Boondocks are the other day, because they come from the States, and I can't remember how much I paid for them back in the day, but they're a horrifically expensive pair of boots now. Having said that, I have the luxury, because I don't stand on them all day long like I used to on the market, that the ones that I've got at the moment will probably last me for 4 years. Would I buy them again? Yeah, they were brilliant. They are brilliant. I've got me Helly Hansen for the warm bits in the winter, and I've got me Boondocks for the summer. I suppose you can put safety trainers on, but I'm just a boots person, really. But yes, no, but I'm sure there's plenty other out there, just the ones I like. So there we go. Paul Bevan says, the amount of shippers that post jobs on the CX that haven't got the job is getting worse. Now, I did one on this. I called it the magic job, and it's so frustrating. When you go, right, I'm on top of it, I'll give it for that price, and the guy says, that's a good price. I'll just ring the customer. He says, they say, I'll just ring my client. And I say, you haven't got the job then. And then they say, we'll see if the client likes the price. I say, you haven't even given a price then. I know it's really annoying, but it's the way it is. I kind of can see it in the fact that what they do is the client says, I need some pallets moved from here to here. And they go, rather than give them, because you've given them a price and you can't actually get the job off, you may end up losing money. So what they'll do is they'll say, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come back to you with a price in about half an hour to see what I can get. So then they go off, see what prices they can get. Then they go back to them and say, I've got this. You know where that one falls down? Is say you've got like half a dozen bids, or say you've got 3 bids, 90, 150 and 180. So you go, right, I've got 90, I'll give the guy the job for 140. You ring him up, he says, yeah, that's a goer. Then you go back and 90's disappeared. So you've got to give it for 150 and you've lost a tenner if 150 is still there. So, but I'm sure there are shippers out there that'll explain to me the other side of how that works. What we tend to do with our customers is we give them a ballpark figure of what we think we can get the job for, or depending on time and availability, we'll just quote them the job. And if we can't get it covered, it's going to cost us money. But you've just got to be professional about it. And you've got to think that sometimes it ain't going to work out, you know. But he goes on. He says another point. He says he had a call from the CX last week about very cheap prices. He said there's a job description that it's something like this. It's 11 miles, 70 to 80 drops of flowers in London, pays £130 a day, starts at 6 AM. It's by the time you've actually worked that job out, it works out at less than minimum wage. So he said he took a screenshot, he's thrown it to the CX, they're going to look into it. Yeah, I very much doubt anything will come of that. The truth of the matter with this one is, guys, is we've got to be wise. Don't work for nothing. There's plenty of work for those that will work for nothing. Do the maths, work it out and go, I mean, do I want that job, or would I rather, like, you know, do like pick up, drop off? I might not get 130, I might get 100. I might get 80, I might get 90, but I won't get anything like the amount of grief. You guys have got to do you. You know, all I do is I tell you what happened to me and what is happening to me, and I also voice the opinions of people that are much more clued up than I am. But at the end of the day, you work it out yourself. You do you. I ain't here telling anybody what to do. I'm just here telling you what goes on in my world and what the people that are wiser than me know. So, but yeah, if that was me, I'd just go, I'm not doing it. That's something. It's when it says job pays 40 quid. I think, no, it doesn't. Well, not in my world, it don't. If someone wants to do it for 40 quid, let them. I ain't doing it. Lee Westcott, have you ever quoted a job, ever overquoted a job and got the job? Is that right? Have you ever quoted a job and thought you've overquoted it and got the job? All the time. But I'll do one on that. You know, mate, so not everyone is a loser. Sometimes you think, oh, that's all right. And sometimes you go, how on earth? I've even quoted jobs before where the guys give me more money. Oh, there was one particular one. We'll come back to it. I'll do you one on it. Dolly Dalton. He says, we did one on lady drivers. Somebody asked, I think it was Tiffiosa Cornwall, are there any lady drivers on the exchange? Dolly Dalton, who's our fridge man, he said, we've got 2 lady drivers who both have ADR licences. Impressive. Women who carry bombs. They always say when they turn up at collection points, the look of surprise on the warehouse staff is worth $1 million. I'd like to see that. Well done, you girls. It's not all about us, fellas. Well done, you, for out there running. You're running for a good man, I believe. Andrew Gutland says, hi, Pete. Great channel. Thanks, Andrew. Just one question. You mentioned you were down to 1 job a day due to the COVID lockdown. Have you noticed any slowdown in work due to the quoted 68% trade drop in EU? Mate, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's down to the trade drop, or I don't know if it's down to COVID, or I don't know if it's down to EU regulations or Brexit. At the end of the day, I just know... I used to have this thing on the markets where, you know, I was going to bring out a book, 1,000,001 excuses for why we're having a bad day. In fact, I think I might even done a video on it back in the day. I have to look that one up. My favourite one being excuses you can only use once in a lifetime. And if I have done a video, it'll be on there. But at the end of the day, you either take your money or you're not. And it's irrelevant of the reason why. You either take your money or you do everything you can to make the money, and as long as you're winning, you're winning. It is always tough in January and February. I'm 100% sure that the COVID thing hasn't helped. I'm really hopeful, as I believe we all are, that once all this madness is over and once the sun comes out, things will get back to normal, or more like normal, and we can go back to running and making more dough again, or at least making the same amount of dough for less grief. But who knows what the future holds? As I say, anything can happen in the next half hour. So I just hope you're all doing okay. What have we got? Ian Roswell. How about getting magnetic signs and taking them off before you rock up to pick up and delivery point? This potentially could work. I have one problem with magnetic signs. Let's say you spend that for a magnetic sign, and then as you're driving down the motorway, so save yourself the aggravation of getting a magnetic sign, and next time you're driving down the motorway on a windy day, just do this. There you go. I have to pick them up later. Yeah, I hope I don't lose him. That's 20 quid. Oliver Gunn. To add some context, I want to eventually run in my own... Yeah, he did a thing. He said, I want to eventually run in my own Arctic. But I want to start off with something smaller as a way of getting started with the O licence, such as... And the main reasons being, you want to start at 7.5 tonne or a 12 tonne, easier for parking, and the fact you can still run for profit. Yes, you can. I'm making money in my time. Part of me does wonder, and I was talking to a geezer about this today, because I think we might have got in with a firm around the corner. They're ringing us a lot, and fingers crossed it could be good for us. And I said to the guy, I don't know whether to change from the 7.5 tonne to the 18 tonne. Because if I change the 18 tonne, when the COVID thing locks and I can actually go and do my proper licence, which I am going to do my class 2, it gives me a lot more scope. On the flip side of things, I can get bigger things. I can get 2.47 on the side of mine, which a lot of 18 tonnes can't. I can go into so many more places that 18 tonnes can't. I do a lot less fuel than the 18 tonne. Having said that, I probably still would go on the 18 tonne. I probably will go Euro 6 and get myself a bed. But I have to wait until I can actually do the test first. Who knows what the future holds, like, you know? So, but mate, as I keep saying with everybody on this is just me and what I do and the advice of people better than me. You do you. I only hope it works out. He did say thanks again for the advice. It's my genuine pleasure. CI Brad says, Pete, could you do a video regarding the benefits of being VAT registered? Is it better to go like full VAT or go flat rate? I've done one before. There'll be a link if I can find it. I'd say flat rate. Own a driver every time. I would be tempted to go flat rate. We can't because of the firm and it's too involved, I believe. Al does the financial side of things. But if it was me and I was just an owner driver, I'd just go flat rate. Do a job for £100, charge them 120, pay a tenner to the VAT man, keep the tenners. Don't have to worry about the fuel receipts, don't have to worry about the receipt and all the aggravation and the paperwork and all that stuff. Nice and simple. That's the way I believe it works. Probably wrong. Remember, everything on this channel is probably largely wrong, or at least largely wrong. But take it all with a pinch of salt. But no, if it was me, I would advise flat rate. RBD35025, mate, you've got to come up with a better. This is the droids. We need a better name than that. Pete, question on pricing. Probably been covered before. Apologies. I don't apologise, mate. Any questions welcome. He's running on short wheelbase between 60 and 70p per mile, depending on desperation. Yeah, you could probably go up 75 if you get it right, but yeah, that's about right. That's fine, yeah. However, when pricing for short jobs, like 20 miles, should I be pricing higher? Seems to be posting a quote and having they're biting his gear stick off. Yes, absolutely. I've done a video on pricing before, but I mean, if someone's going to price it, if they want a job that's running 2 miles, you're not going to price on £1.20. You should have a minimum price, which I would say in a short wheelbase would be. In a small van, maybe 25 quid, but for 25 quid, you'd want to be on top of it and you want to be going nowhere and you wouldn't want a distribution hub. It's like pick up a box, drive it down a road or drive it 5 miles and drop off a box. But on a short wheelbase, I think you should be looking at a minimum price of 35 quid, 35 quid. You don't want to be running for less than that. And again, look at the job. And you think, does it look like there's going to be a lot of waiting around? Because if there's a lot of waiting around, I don't even want to do it. So, but these are things that will come in time. But yes, there definitely should be a minimum price on the job. Gary McConaughey, who's done some more questions. Oh, by the way, thanks everybody for the questions for the CX. I've gathered them all together. I meant to send the email. I haven't. I'll hopefully send it tomorrow. I think it looks like it might not be going ahead because I don't know why. But I'm going to send the questions and I'm going to say it's up to you guys. And if they don't want to answer them, that's fine. That's up to them. Like I say, they're under no obligation. But I will read all your questions out because if they don't want to answer them, maybe we can answer their questions between us. So again, I'm not out to get anybody. I'm just trying to sort of, shed some light on the matter, So anyway, Gary McConaughey, he said, of course there should be waiting time. He said, you don't ask a plumber to come round, wait him outside for half an hour, then get him to fix a tap and say, I'm not paying for half an hour, you've been hanging around outside. I think, yeah, it was handball that Ben said there shouldn't be waiting time. It's just a matter of if the job takes longer than... If they sell you one thing and then deliver another. I've always hated that in the market where they'd show you a shirt, oh, look at this shirt, it's Next, and they'd turn up and it would be Zorbly. And I'm thinking, yeah, that shirt had Next in the label. This shirt hasn't got a recognised brand in it. That it might look like the same thing, but instantly it's worth half the money. And then if they turn around and say, you have to ring them up and go, you posted the job as this. You never mentioned the fact you had to go up 13 flights of stairs. The job is not what you said it was, so we have to renegotiate the price of the job and do it politely. There's no reason to have a war. Just be upfront and honest with people. We're all human beings here. All right. Lewis ASP6 says, just set up in Leighton Buzzard with 4 more 18-tonne trucks. My mate is setting up in a farm just outside Neaton Bray in a couple of weeks with a 7.5 and 2 18-tonnes. He says, thanks for getting me the info and setting up with his O licence. Lewis, if this is true, then we need to get in contact with each other. I'll put my number out there before, or you can leave me a message on the comments to turn around and go, because with you, me and your mate, we could go after some bigger customers. I have a suspicion it's not true. I have a suspicion that it might be one of them comments that go, you're telling people how to do things. What if someone sat up on your doorstep with exactly the same thing as you have because you've told them how to do it? And I would say to that, oh, that it were so simple. But like I say, if it is true, get in contact with me. I don't believe you will, but if it's not, I will do you a response video to that. Like I say, I'm just out here to help people, and if it came back and bit me, then it comes back and bites me. But it hasn't yet. So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So I have my reasons. I'm sure they'll all become clear in time. Well, they kind of told you before many times, just whether you choose to listen to them or not. Thermas Talker says, after watching this video last year, here, this is interesting. After watching this video last year, he's invested in a van for some extra income. I'm fully employed Monday to Friday. I thought I'd advertise locally for removals, pickups, etc. Oh my God, I was turning down jobs left, right and centre. Basically, I'm an extra £200 a week, and that's being selective due to my work hours and the missus complaining. Mate, you're a superstar if you're doing that. I've got to say, if you're going to buy the CX to run at weekends, I wouldn't recommend it. There's not a lot of jobs happening at the weekends, and if they do, you can find yourself going distance and then not coming back. And he has made the point in here, and I say this to all of you, advertise locally. You know, you might want to do small removals, small flat removals, Facebook, picking up sofas. There are other platforms you can run on. I find value for money wise, the CX is the best. That's why I use it. There are other ones like Shipley, and there's a few other career ones. We signed up for returnloads.net. That's a waste of time. As soon as we can get out of that, we will. But there are other ways around it. Don't limit yourself to the CX, particularly when you're starting with scattergun everywhere. When you can, when this lockdown's over, flyers through the local firms. Not ones that you do from the CX, you're not allowed to do that, but ones that you don't use. Cards, anything you possibly can. The brother-in-law, if he's got a factory, get hold of him and turn around and go, who are you using for your career vans? I want to be the guy. Do everything you possibly can, mate. In the meantime, having said that, in this time of lockdown, when we're all struggling, well done you. On the other side of things, Dan Fletcher says, he swears people are doing this for fun at the moment. I'm having conversations with shippers who are regularly selling jobs for 50p a mile in the Luton. It's debilitating. Yeah, that's shocking. You can't run for 50p in a mile in a Luton. It's costing you 25 to 30p just to run it. So I think sometimes you have to stick to your guns. It depends on where you are. It's hard, mate. I know it's hard. Hopefully it'll be all over for all of us soon. And OK says, thanks for all the videos you're uploading. I'm about to start in a Luton van on the Courier Exchange. Your videos are very helpful. Once again, thank you. Right, well, there you go. There's the comments from everybody. So, I don't know. It's tricky, isn't it? It is tricky. It's like the world changed. It's like a perspective shift. Suddenly I was looking at day and I'm looking at night, and it's another world, but let's just hope we're through it all soon, because it's all a bit... I recently, I mean, this week's probably one of the weakest I've had in the truck. I can't at the moment do my early morning Slough jobs. So I'm having to start at a normal time, and more times, a couple of times, getting out one job. Having said that, let's go on to it. Right, finally, Jason Burke. He says, oh, about working in offices. He says, Pete, mate, I can work in an office. That's shifting paper all around all the time. Oh, by the way, Ian Rothwell, magnetic signs. That's 30 quid I've got to bring up. Pete, mate, he said, I know how you feel. I worked in offices for 25 years. Paid off the mortgage early. Well done you. I wish I'd been that sensible. Started being a delivery driver 2 years ago. Love the freedom and the variety. Now I have a job I love, delivering items that are essential and needed, and everybody really appreciates it. Never been happier. Wish I'd done it years ago. That's from Uncle Jason, Uncle to the Cats, and my personal hero. The personal hero, in case anybody knows, because he's the only guy I know that worked for the NHS and then lost his job during lockdown, and then got another job during lockdown when no one could work. So, mate, my hat still goes off to you. And finally, the last word this week goes to Julian Rowe. Oh, by the way, Ian Roswell, magnetic signs. Well, they might work, I don't know. He said, the best van for tramping? A hotel. With that in mind, Monday morning I am up in Slough at 5:30. I've got D-side, and then I've got Liverpool, and then I've barely got enough driver's hours to get back, so chances are I will be out somewhere tramping on Monday. As usual, I'll keep you guys abreast of the situation, and in the meantime, take care, take money.